So when we first met, Rhia Ventures was already off the ground, and the fund was starting to take off. And I was so impressed by your background and that you had already been working at this intersection between foundations, the financial markets, and also communities, particularly communities of color, and how could we create the systems that would work better.
I came to Rhia because I was curious about what changes in decision making based on the structure of a nonprofit effectively owning a venture fund. And through my career, I had been looking at the ways that no one really interrogated the decision making process. It was just assumed to be neutral. It was just assumed that somehow the financial decision making of foundations, the endowments, didn't really matter in the same way that the grant making did. But it was always clear to me, and I think it's clear to anyone, as you did with the Terra Health Foundation process, that if you're investing in things with the expectation that they will grow, and those things are creating the need for your grant making will never be successful. I just felt that there were some things that we could do differently in that pursuit of profit that would bring to light some of the other opportunities for closing gaps, for bringing different people into the process, for considering intentionally the health concerns and issues and experiences of people who had been very intentionally pushed to the margins historically. So how do we bring them to the center? I understand the harms of capitalism. I understand the harms in particular to Black women's bodies, to Indigenous women, to immigrant communities. I want to offer solutions that acknowledge and then redirect the ways in which these decisions traditionally get made. How do we do this differently?
And have you had the experience of really feeling that somebody has changed in their perception of
Yes.
what you're offering?
Yes.
That aha moment?
The aha moment, and we've become a trusted partner. So people who work in the movement will come to Rhia, will come to me, will come to us with questions. We recently launched a community advisory council
I want to ask you
process
about that.
and application, and the applicants were all so curious about, what is the role of venture capital? What are different models? And the fact that we're trying to bring different models forward to the market, like their curiosity is leaning into the work that we do at Rhia. And I believe it's because we're trusted as a partner in the field that we get all the things, right? We very clearly do. And we still want to make sure that there are resources flowing in the ways that they should to support the work that really is centering in some cases, and or can be much more inclusive, intentionally inclusive about, again, who's been historically marginalized. So I think just being out here and, again, being informed by history in that context has been helpful in those conversations.
This is a huge breakthrough, the Community Advisory Group. And how do you intend to use them as you're building some of your new products?
The Community Advisory Council serves in two ways, probably many more, but there are two that I think about. One is informing us of where opportunity exists, who are some of the partners that may not be on our radar, how can we serve our market and the movement better, inform some of the programming, and their accountability for us. It's very easy to think that we have the answers and that we're doing it right. I want to know when we're not. I want to know if I'm leaning too far into market speak or prioritizing investors without being clear about or prioritizing our stakeholders differently. So the question around how do we know we get it right? I don't know that you ever get it right. But for me, it's, are we on the right track? Are we doing what we say we want to do? And getting that kind of feedback is really important for me. And I think that's, to me, actually the biggest priority for the Community Advisory Council is to hold us accountable.
So what do you see for the future for Rhia Ventures?
I see the next fund vehicle that we stand up, Catalytic Capital Fund, as being an innovative model for how you do participatory decision making, how you strengthen impact measurement and management for accountability, and how you intentionally weave a equity analysis into a diligence process and support of companies. So to be able to put forward something like that is so exciting and so tremendous. And we know that that's going to be a 10-year, 5 to 10-year opportunity. And I'm really looking forward to that. I think the other aspect of the work is that we continue to bring forward the ideas and the strategies and the resources for implementation around a very new way of considering capital. That has always been the intention, and we'll just continue to do that work. Have the idea, apply it, and then
teach others.
And then teach others.
Yeah,
Bring it to the market. So
it's a relatively small amount of capital that we're investing at Rhia Ventures, but if you can replicate those models and use those tools to influence others with much, much larger amounts of money, that's going to be the magic.
So the ways that we can change systems, that's it. That's fundamentally how I see the future for Rhia. Because of the work of Terra Health Foundation, even your work on gender equity and gender lens investing, the work of Rhia, there is now a women's health innovation ecosystem that didn't exist when Rhia was established or when you first set out to do the work. So continuing to participate in that, growing that ecosystem, and seeing to it that our presence, our innovation, our intervention brings that equity lens into those conversations more consistently, so that we don't repeat mistakes of the past, of other movements, is part of, I think, our role, and where I see the future for Rhia as well, is making this normal, right? That this is the normalized way of investing.
You could work yourself out of a job,
That's the goal, right?
Yeah.
That's what we should be doing with mission-oriented work.
Yeah.
That we do it so well that
it makes it easy for everybody else.
and we're no longer needed, and that would be amazing.
That's right.